Luka Doncic is one of the most promising players to enter the NBA in recent memory. The Dallas Mavericks star is only 23 years old and already appears to be on his way to the Hall of Fame. He's done well for the Mavericks in the playoffs for the last 3 years, making him a perennial MVP candidate. Stay tuned if you want to find out what the NBA GMs have to say about Doncic. First things first, how'd Luka Doncic earn top 3 for 3 different positions? Luka Doncic is a Slovenian professional basketball player for the Dallas Mavericks of the National Basketball Association. He also plays for Slovenia's national team. Donnie, who was born in Ljubljana, shone as a youth player for Union Olimpija before joining Real Madrid's youth academy. The 2022-23 NBA GM survey favored Luka, demonstrating how highly GMs around the league regard him. Not only did Doncic win the MVP and he ranked as the second best international player ahead of Nikola Jovic, but he was also ranked in the top 3 for 3 different positions. Doncic finished second in the point guard rankings, trailing only Steph Curry. With the lowest vote share of the 3 positions at 14%, Doncic finished ahead of LeBron James and Kawhi Leonard in the small forward poll. Receiving 17% of the vote, Luka got 28% of the votes to be named the second best shooting guard in the NBA, right behind Devin Booker. Next, what's his actual position supposed to be? Luka is a point guard, a very tall and talented one, but he's also frequently been described as a positionless guard with the attributes of a point guard, shooting guard, and small forward. He has the size of a traditional SF for sure, but he's not playing that role. Instead, on the floor, he does what a point guard does. He's primarily creating for others, calling plays, passing the ball, controlling the tempo while sometimes playing off the ball. What we're trying to say is that he's more of a point guard than is a small forward, but that's in offense. On defense, he's not playing PG. He's not guarding the opposing team's small guard. He's guarding the opposing team's forward. For that reason, we'd rather call today's basketball multi-positional rather than positionless. Players are playing several positions at time, and Luka is a point guard in the body of a traditional small forward. Now let's talk about versatile Dallas dynamic Luka Doncic. Doncic's height of 6 foot 7 inches allows him to play multiple positions on the court. His first 2 seasons were spent as a small forward and shooting guard, but he spent the majority of his career as a true point guard. The Mavericks use a lot of different lineups, and Doncic rarely guards the other team's point guard because he prefers to guard the wings. Luka's lack of defensive ability makes it difficult to see him playing as a wing on a consistent basis. On the other hand, LeBron is a point forward because he can play forward. On the other hand, Luka is strictly a playmaker and offensive machine, filling the role of a point guard. Moving on, Doncic has always been a star player. The Dallas Mavericks' Luka Doncic agreed to a 5-year, $207 million Supermax rookie extension in 2021. At the time, he became one of the most accomplished players in NBA history while being only 22 years old and rapidly evolving into the future face of the league. Doncic was the first player to be able to sign the designated rookie max extension when he did so because he had been named to the All-NBA first team twice before. Coming up, is it possible he could have had a better rookie season than LeBron James did? Luka Doncic was considered a rookie phenomena, not because of his clutch play, those groin-stretching step-backs, or his overall feeling that he can't lose, which is what makes him the star of the Dallas Mavericks. No, Doncic was considered a rookie star because he played well enough through half of his first NBA season to invite a special comparison. If there were levels of talent verification being compared to LeBron James, would have to be one of the last. So before we get to answering that question, just appreciate the fact that we ask it with a straight face. If you start with traditional counting stats, you can quickly and easily see Doncic compares to James. James's high school games were nationally televised. Before he ever played in an NBA game, he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Before the Cavs selected him first overall, he was the chosen one. Doncic, on the other hand, arrived with little more than a whisper campaign to his name. He was like a well-kept secret known only to a select few, a grainy video clip from halfway around the world. He was a teenager who annihilated professional adults, winning MVPs and championships in a league better than the NCAA. It seems strange that James was rewarded for beating up on teenagers with acne and curfews, while Doncic fell to 3rd in the draft after beating up on grown men who got paid to play basketball. James's hype preceded his NBA debut. Doncic created his after the fact. Lastly, could this mean a new era of basketball? Positions are becoming obsolete in a world where positionless basketball is gaining traction. Last season, the Mavericks demonstrated this with 3 guard lineups, with Luka as the point guard on offense but taking defensive matchups against the wings. Everyone would probably pick Luka over Kawhi and LeBron in a vacuum, but it's difficult to argue that Doncic would be a better full-time forward than those former Finals MVPs. For several years, positionless basketball has been the modern NBA dream. Everyone can pass and score, and the ball is no longer in the hands of a single point guard, who, despite the title, was far more the point of distribution than the scorer of points. Instead of being limited by size, having a lineup of similarly sized players allows them all to switch on to more potential opponents. Teams have been running scoring guards who can pass as point guards for a long time, so long that finding scoring guards who aren't at least combo guards is becoming increasingly difficult. However, positionless basketball becomes a somewhat misleading term after a while. Not every player is equally skilled in all areas. It's just so difficult to put together a team of players who can do everything and do it at an elite level without jeopardizing the team's approach. Moving on, the NBA GMs have more to say about who's winning the MVP title. First, the Maverick star might be up for an MVP award. In NBA.com's annual survey of all 30 of the league's general managers, the Milwaukee Bucks are slight favorites to win the 2023 NBA championship, and Luka Doncic was chosen to be the most likely to win the 2023 Most Valuable Player award. Doncic was a narrow but clear favorite for MVP, receiving 48% of the vote to 34% for Bucks star Giannis Antetokounmpo, 14% of 76ers star Joel Embiid, and a single vote for Warriors star Steph Curry. Antetokounmpo, on the other hand, finished ahead of Doncic in the category of player a GM would most want to build their team around, with 55% of the vote to Doncic's 45%. Nobody else received a single vote. Next, picking the best bets for the MVP award aside from Luka Doncic. The MVP award is by far the most debated in the NBA, but it's important to note that only a small number of players are usually involved. Milwaukee received 43% of the vote in the 21st edition of the survey, which was released on Tuesday. The Golden State Warriors, who are defending champions, got 25% of the vote, the Los Angeles Clippers got 21%, and the Boston Celtics got 11%. Finally, the NBA GM see Milwaukee Bucks winning. Unsurprisingly, the Bucks were the overwhelming favorites to win the East. The defending Eastern Conference champion Celtics were followed by the Philadelphia 76ers, Brooklyn Nets, Miami Heat, and Cleveland Cavaliers. This season, these 6 teams were the only ones to receive votes to finish among the top 4 seeds in the East. Meanwhile, 9 teams received votes in the West. The Clippers finished first in the West, just ahead of the Warriors, followed by the Phoenix Suns, Denver Nuggets, Memphis Grizzlies, Dallas Mavericks, and Minnesota Timberwolves, tied for 6th, Los Angeles Lakers, and New Orleans Pelicans. The top players at each position were Curry, Sun star Devin Booker, Net star Kevin Durant, Antetokounmpo, and Nugget star Nikola Jovic. The only difference between this year and last was that Booker surpassed James Harden as the league's top shooting guard. Speaking of shooting guards, Cleveland's acquisition of Donovan Mitchell propelled the Cavaliers to the top of the list of teams with the best offseason, garnering 41% of the vote. The Timberwolves, 76ers, and Jazz tied for second place with 17%, while the Celtics and Sacramento Kings also received votes. Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, 2 former Jazz teammates, finished first and second in the category of which player will have the greatest impact on their home, respectively, with Jalen Brunson, the New York Knicks guard, coming in third. Well, that's a wrap for this video. Do you think Luka Doncic will manage to get his hands on the MVP award? Let us know in the comments below. Also, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. We'll see you in the next one.